Let's go. Welcome to another episode of the DTK Dreamers podcast. As always, I'm joined with this big ball of blessings right in front of me, DP, Danny Pena, my partner, my brother, and we have a very special guest that is going to share an incredible journey with us today. This is Izabela from RankBell, and soon another company that she's going to tell us all about too later in the podcast. Izabela, how are you today?
I am doing amazing, better and better.
I love that. Well, first, before we get into anything, what's one thing you're grateful for this morning?
Oh my God. First of all, I am grateful for waking up today, for getting a chance to live another day. And I don't want to take that for granted. So I am very blessed to be alive.
That's beautiful.
It's been under 30 seconds and I already got goosebumps. Come on, man. Come on, man.
That's what we do at the DTK Dreamers, baby. So, Izabela, thank you so much for being here. You and I go back from our Amazon days. Izabela is one of the smartest people that I've known, and what she has done in her industry and what she is paving the new pathway for. I am just extremely grateful that you're here and we could talk about your story. And I'm just super blessed you're in our presence right now. I appreciate you always. Quick story, Izabela actually was one of the ones who pushed me more towards focusing to DTK. We were at the Amazon $1 billion Seller Summit in Austin, Texas. And we had a very special talk on, it was like a huge houseboat that we were at. It was cool, DJs were there and everything like that. Izabela pulled me aside, it's like, hey, if you really want this, you have to be fully focused and give it your all. And because we were doing like Amazon stuff, we were doing all the other like stuff that we do, and she knew and she heard about the Discord and the journey and what we were about, and I will always appreciate that and cherish that moment because it really pushed me to go to the next level with DTK. So very, very blessed and thankful to have you right here.
Wow, that is an intro. I love that. I love that I can walk through the world and be able to touch people in this way. And I know it sounds almost like boasting and full of myself, but to get to the point where I acquired enough knowledge and enough personal experience that I can share that upon you or others, that is the blessing, and that is why I do every single thing that I do. Like the fact that you just said that to me, that's what gives me goosebumps. That's what gets me going every single morning. And every time I can do that, this is what I'm grateful to being alive for. So thank you. I take that even more than you can ever think of. So thank you.
You know what? You may just be the Romanian version of me because that's what fuels me all the way through. It is,
oh God,
it is
I love
making
that.
those impacts on people, like more than anything.
Yeah.
We say this all the time, but everything that we can desire in this world is available in abundance, and we can have it. Anybody can have those things. For some people, it's a little bit harder to get off that starting line, but with the right circumstances, everything's available to us. So with that in mind, what's the most valuable thing in the world? And the most valuable thing is having that impact on people. So you saying that right now, and as we're getting to know each other, you having the impact that you did on Dan, convincing him, being able to move his energy from opening up another part of his mind to focus fully on DTK and let go of other things is absolutely huge. So you have no idea the impact that you've not only had on Dan, but thereby myself also, and thereby all of our members who now get to bask in the beauty of the system that we've created, which you have sparked an influence in. There's a little gratitude.
Wow, this is not how we thought this episode was going to go, right? No, I received that, and let's keep spreading the joy and spreading the love to everybody that's watching and listening, and I'm just so excited to be here. Let's go.
We absolutely love that, dude. What more can we ask for than to wake up with this energy and be here in this place that we are, and to be able to share these conversations with people? There's really not much more. This is where the impact starts, right? For all the listeners that are listening in, that's what we're all about. That's what sparked the idea for our podcast, the DTK Dreamers podcast, was to come and share the stories, because on a daily basis, people don't get to see the struggle and the obstacles that people have to overcome to accomplish what they've accomplished. And we're really excited to jump into your story and what you've experienced to get to where you are. And before we get into that, it's absolutely fucking sick to hear that you cherish the impact above all else. So
above all else. And you know what? It's, I can't say, oh my God, I was born with this and I'm, so perfect and so blessed to just want to inspire everyone. No, like it was fucking hard getting here and, getting to the point where I'm sitting right now. And I know there's such a huge journey ahead of me, but to be able to just take this very second and reflect with both of you here and realize your impact and then your impact and then mine and Brendan sitting behind the camera. But, all of us, really all of us, we have our own little tiny piece of puzzle that when we put it together, this is where we feel those goosebumps, right? When everything aligns and you're like, holy shit, wait, I was thinking of that. And then you're like, oh my God, what you just said, like, you're the Romanian version of me. And what happens, the more we have these conversations, these wholesome conversations, the more we attract people that are alike. How many thousands of people, Danny, do we meet through Amazon? Yeah. And when I say thousands, I don't, just say it. Literally thousands. And yet we were able to connect, me and him. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's like you look at each other, you're like, maybe he knows something that I know. I don't know why you start conversation. Then you're like, holy shit, we actually have something deeper. And then, for me to recognize that in him and for him to recognize that in me, that maybe I can shed some light upon that. Because there's advice everywhere you turn. Literally, you turn on your TV, you turn on YouTube. But when you really connect with somebody and you feel like that advice is coming from the heart, which is what you guys do through DTK, which I love. And that's why when you invited me, I was like, hell yeah, I want to be here. So when you do this, and when you do this, and then I do this, and then we all come together, then the energy that I'm sending to the audience right now, I know you guys can feel this because it's real. And this is what it's about, And I know in this episode, we're going to talk about, how much money we all make and, what kind of cars we're driving, and that's all fun. And trust me, I love that. I will tell you, I love that. And I love money and I love capitalism and I love that you can also do it. But what I love deeper than that is the fact that we create this reality. And I love the fact that every one of us can become somebody out of nobody. And this is what we're doing today. We're empowering that.
Earlier you said that there could be thousands of people in one room, but for some reason, you're attracted to certain people, right? And that goes back to the energy. We are emitting those frequencies, and those frequencies align us together. And I just got to say, you're fucking radiating right now. That was absolutely fucking beautiful in every way. Let's get this shit.
I love it. See, this is what it's all about. So, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So first, let's talk about the journey, because I know you're from Romania. Mm-hmm. You came over to the States, and I know not only are you one of the most passionate and grateful people, but you are a fucking hustler too. I seen you speak at the Amazon conferences. I see what you do. I see your mind. So I want to know, was that always with you? Did you always have that drive, or did that start coming when you went from Romania to over here? Like, what was that journey like for you?
I love that question. And I think, if all of us should be able to take some time to really reflect upon how did we get to where we are right now. And because sometimes I get interviewed and I get this question a lot, and every single time I get it, it makes me think deeper, like, how did this really happen? And I think I was blessed that I was born in a country that maybe we didn't have the possibilities that I had here. And if you were to ask me this when I was in Romania, I would be like, fuck that. I hate being born in Romania. Why did I have to be born here and have to work so hard? And oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. And I'm going to be broke for the rest of my life. And I could have been, honestly. And that was the path that I was going. And I think the fact that I thought of it. You know how, I don't know how young we are when we start thinking about who we are, but when you have that moment like, oh my God, I am alive, or I am a person, I think there was a moment in time in Romania where I was like, I do not want to be broke. I could see where the path was going, because being born in a communist country, there's only so many options, right? If your parents are in the government, or if your parents are really rich, then yes, you have the ability to, have a good life. But that was not the reality for most of us. So looking at that road, even though I was young, I was like, I do not want to do that. And knowing I don't want to do that, that was the beginning. That was the first step. And it's not so much, we humans, we always tend to think like a million steps ahead, like, oh my God, I want to start a business. Oh my God, it's going to be so painful and this and this. But no, it starts with the one thought. I do not want to be here. And then whatever else comes next, it's all because now you're aligned with that energy. So when I decided that I no longer wanted to be in this country because I didn't see the potential of success, that's when I was like, okay, well, what are the other possibilities? And it just happened that America was one country that I kept hearing over and over again, specifically from my father. And he said, that is the country of all possibilities. And of course, you can take that as however you want. This country is still the country of possibilities. So I think that was the very first sign for me to kind of align my vision to, could I potentially go somewhere else? And then I found out that I cannot, because it's a communist country and I need to wait for the world to wake up a little bit. So that was when I was really young. And then, the story continues.
Dang. So your mindset really changed when you started coming over here then,
I think so. I think that first thought of like, I can do better, I can have better, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
That's a key point that you made up, because 2 episodes ago on our podcast, what were we talking about? We're talking about change.
Power of change.
The power of change, and how it's not about like the things that you do want. That's one thing when you're manifesting it, but it's like, okay, what is a root from? It always roots from changing who you are, or where you want to go, or the location you want to be in, and that's always like the hardest thing for a lot of people, especially over here. And we were just talking about this yesterday with people who are outside of the country. They see the U.S. as so many possibilities, and they're so blessed to be here. And I talked to someone from Huntington Beach, like, fuck this place, like this and that. Our politicians suck. Where it's not about that. It's about the possibilities and the opportunities that you get to now experience in the U.S., right? And then you're building from that. So not only did it stem from changing where you are or what you wanted to do to coming over here, now it's actually about building, putting in that work, right? Because then it's like day by day. How long did it take for you to actually reach your success? It wasn't just overnight, especially when you're coming from a different country, right? So how hard is it to actually, day by day, sweat by sweat, cry by cry, blood by blood? Like, that's the hardest thing to do. And I appreciate people outside of the country who could realize the fucking opportunities in this country specifically. They're endless. And if you just have the right mindset, you could literally change within a year. You could be the highest level of yourself within a year. But it's not just an overnight thing. It's the small fucking wins you do daily that are going to impact the overall win.
Right.
And that's what we're going to be talking about, right?
It does take action to see change. But like Brandon said on that podcast, we've only addressed change from an external standpoint. Like that resonated with me so hard. And this goes back to what you were just saying right now. It all starts with that thought. I do not want to live like this anymore.
Exactly.
And once you manifest that thought and you own that thought, then actions begin to align. Because it's not about, everybody is hesitant to do things, to take those actions because they see all of the obstacles ahead of them, right? All the filings, the registrations to run a business, taxes, dealing with everything that it takes to operate.
I'd rather watch Netflix.
Exactly. Way easier. Get off your couch and make some fucking money. Right? So it's all about addressing change internally first. And that's beautiful. You made that decision, and that had a monumental impact on you. And that is
Completely changed my life. Completely.
That's fucking beautiful. We need to hear more about that because you, having come from Romania, I'm sure with lots of restrictions, with lots of obstacles, more obstacles than so many of us here in America that are blessed to not have to go through those hoops, but at the same time, maybe those obstacles are the same things that fueled you towards the success that you have, right?
Yeah, so I was gonna say that word because you said, we're blessed not to have those issues, and I used to think that, but then how blessed was I to have those issues?
Absolutely.
Because that's what drove me to where I am today. And we're so we want everything comfy, and I love comfort, and I want to wake up and be warm and not have to worry about things. But every time I have to make a very hard decision or something that is painful, that is when I change the most. But of course we fight that and we don't want it, and we scream like little kids, and we're like, I don't want change. And then it happens and you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. What was I thinking? But is through making that decision of, do I want to suffer a little bit for that long-term gain? And sometimes it's not even that it's going to be that painful. It's the fear that we have that we think it's going to be painful. We don't start because we're afraid of what's going to happen without even knowing what's going to happen. And most of the cases, what happens is something beautiful, and it's not going to be maybe even painful.
Absolutely. I say it all the time. The most beautiful, most successful things that ever occurred in my life occurred after long periods of pain where I chose to completely close the door on a chapter and let go and walk away with no backup plan and nothing to hold me back at all. Because at that point you free up your mind and your soul, and you allow yourself to then be aligned fully and immersed fully in what you're doing. And once you do that, once you've manifested that thought and you've realized that thought and things start lining up, it is oftentimes a lot smoother than you'd anticipate. A lot of the things that we worry about are unnecessary worries, things that we're always driven to think about worst case a lot of the times as humans, right? There's bad news everywhere you turn your head. If you turn on the TV, it's always bad news. It makes a good story. People are always in fear, but we have to learn to let go of this fear and pursue our visions based on what our heart and mind tell us, right? There has to be unison between our heart and our mind. And I think that our mind sometimes is our biggest roadblock, but if we can unveil its true strengths, I think we can actually levitate, but we just have not learned how to fucking do it yet, But sometimes
I think there are a few people who are levitating,
There we go.
I think it's already happening. We just gotta be open to the idea of seeing it. You know what I mean? I know there's a story out there, and from all the readings that I've done, where the first time this indigenous people on this island saw the ships, they couldn't actually see any ships because there was no image of what a ship was going to look like. So the ships got closer and they didn't see them, and they got shut down and all that. But the thing is once you know that that's a boat that's coming towards you, then you see it and you can protect yourself. But because you don't know it exists, it's not in your image, it's never going to manifest. So that first initial thought of, I don't want to be in the space that I'm in right now, then your vision will almost clear to other different things that can happen and come into your life. But if you say my life sucks and it's never going to get better, then you will always walk around with blocks because you cannot see any other ships coming because you don't have a vision of what that's going to look like. So the most important thing is not have to think, oh my God, I'm going to have to put in work for the next 10 years, because nobody wants to start a business that sounds so painful, even though we all do it. But it starts with that one thought. I do not want to work from 9 to 5 anymore. I do not want to have a boss that tells me what to do. I want to have my own print in this world. So you can start with that. Or you can start with, I don't want to live in my mom's house anymore. Or whatever that may be. Or I don't want that person speaking to me like that. It can be boundaries. You can go as deep as you want, but it all starts with, I do not like this anymore. I do not accept this anymore. And when you don't accept it anymore, then there's a whole world of possibilities and options for you.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
I love that. I fucking love
Absolutely.
that. I love I don't accept this anymore.
I
'Cause
don't.
Fuck that.
You're not giving
Fuck that.
Exactly.
I don't accept this anymore. Let's go. Let's change it.
Go. I fucking love this shit. Hell yes.
Right here. No, because when you put it in that perspective, it's like there's no other fucking option, right?
There's no
If you don't accept this, what are you gonna do? That's what you need to do. So you're not giving. There's no plan B. There's no other option. You're not giving yourself a way out because you don't fucking accept it.
You know what? The biggest mistake I think that we could ever make is continuing to accept things that hurt us, things that set us back, things that prohibit us from living our life in the way and the spirit that we want to, right? Because everybody has so many expectations of everybody on every level, whether it's what kind of, if it's status, depending on where you live and the people around you, what kind of car you should drive, what kind of place you should live in. If it's family, it could be maybe, why aren't you married? Why don't you have kids yet? There's so many expectations all around us. And I think that sometimes we're so just set in these expectations and we feel obligated to a degree, but we don't accept them, but we haven't told ourselves that we don't accept them. So we just sit and suffer for extended periods of time, and we sit and suffer our entire life away. Before you know it, life has passed you by and you've just suffered throughout all of it. I only made 2 small examples, but you could apply that logic to just about anything, whether it's business, work, friendships, or relationships rather. Maybe not friendships because you should not be suffering through those, but we do sometimes, right?
Actually, that's true. Yeah.
We do suffer sometimes with so many different relationships and friendships, because we feel obligated to certain things. And sometimes if those people are not reciprocating the love that we have for them, we still sit and suffer. So it all starts with making that decision to no longer accept that suffering and choose to then pursue just happiness in your life and aligning yourself with what makes you happy. But that's the start. You got to say you no longer accept this.
That's the start. You
Cut
say,
the fucking
You
cord.
say, fuck you, man. There's no option.
Hey,
That's
man.
it.
I don't accept
And it's
it.
mostly with ourselves. It's us versus us. And, it's not even, a lot of people say, oh, my ego. Oh, I wish I didn't have an ego. I wish I wasn't fearful. I wish all of this. And I went through all of this myself. I wish I wasn't born in Romania. I don't know if I should say this now in 2023, but sometimes I was like, I wish I was a man sometimes, because it's so much easier being a man, not today. I'll be like, oh, you can do it easily. But no, I do not. No, I love being a woman. Maybe we should have gone there. However, I'm just saying you can be whoever you want to be as long as is who is your true essence. Who are you truly without necessarily caring what everybody else thinks. And of course, it's very good to take input, and good and bad input, but knowing to your core, I like this, I don't like this. I'll take this, I won't take this. Because what happens is when we lose trust in ourselves, slowly and slowly, we start listening more to what everybody else thinks. And that's when the confusion starts. But if you read a book by Jordan Peterson and you read one by, somebody else, and you're like, I like this, I don't like this, it doesn't matter. It's what does your core, what does your essence align with? And, sometimes it's a contrarian thought compared to the one that I have. But that's beautiful. You don't want to align yourself with all the, yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. No, I want somebody to tell me, no, Izabela, you're wrong. And I'll be like, tell me more. How am I wrong? And then I'll learn something. And I am so easily changeable. Even though, I feel like I know a lot and I have my strong beliefs, but if you come to me and you tell me a different way to look at things, I would drop mine immediately.
Yeah.
If it makes sense. And that is what we have issues with, because our whole life we build this personality, right? Like Izabela Hamilton, Amazon, she does this. And then if this world crashes, then I go into hiding because my whole life has been based on this personality that's now dead, right? So this is the problem I see today with a lot of new money, is these people are really attaching their personality to what they've built, and then, it doesn't always go well. So then they start to buy a lifestyle that in the end makes them broke. But if you are able to detach your soul from, Izabela from RankBell, Izabela from this, Izabela from this. No, this is who I am. This is how I talk. I cuss sometimes. I say stupid shit sometimes. I say clever things sometimes that even I'm like, oh my God, that was so good. But sometimes I'm like, did I really say this dumb thing? Like, can I please rewind life? But no, it's who I am. And then you keep building up and you keep moving forward. And we just have to give ourselves permission to be who we are. And one more thing I'll say about this, and I use it all the time. Maybe a little bit, I'm too morbid when it comes to this, but we're all going to die very soon, in fact. When I say soon, I mean, I was just born yesterday. I have no fucking clue how I got to this version of myself. So I know that the time that I have from being now to hopefully dying of old age is still very short. So what does this mean? I mean, it means many things. One, that who gives a fuck? Nobody's gonna remember you anyway. So go do the mistakes. Go do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean? And then on the other side, also cherish what you have right now. The fact that we're spending these minutes together, this means a lot because this is actually taking a piece of my life away that I'm sharing with you and sharing with the audience. But this is what it's all about. I'm here in this flesh and body to share what I have and have a good time and eat good food and have great sex and I don't know, whatever the fuck you want to do because we're all going to die soon. So go for exactly what you want, anytime you want.
That's amazing. What always reminds me back to that is we only, on average, if we're lucky, we only have 70 winters, 70 summers, 70 falls, 70 birthdays. And that always reminds me of that's a low number. Only 70 summers that we're going to have on average. That's a very small lifetime. Right?
I should have gone to Splash House.
Yeah.
Dude, Izabela, there's 6 things I want to go back to right there. That was an incredible, the passion and the energy and everything that you said right now. I know that it came from your heart, and that's a result of so many experiences that led you to where you are today. I don't know which one I want to start with, but we talked about ego. We talked about you letting go of ego. I think that ego helps drive people to certain places, but there's a cap on how far it can take you. And I think that what you said right now, detaching from your ego, allows you to unlock that next step to not only make it to the top of one mountain, but to see to the next peak beyond it, right? And to be able to continue climbing regardless to the winters or the summers that might come while you're on the top of that mountain, because there are winters and there are summers on the top of every fucking mountain, and it rains and it snows and it's fucking hot and it's hard and it's not easy. So sometimes we go all in on one thing and we build an ego around that. And if you build that ego around it, I've honestly never even considered that, but it's so true. If you build an ego around that one thing and you idolize yourself and who you are based on what you've built, it can be taken away from you. Everything only lasts for a temporary amount of time.
Exactly.
It can be removed, and it will be at some point.
And it always does. And I've been through it, which is how I know to speak about it, because it's so easy to really get attached to this amazing personality, and Danny knows because he knows me from the Amazon space. But, when you walk into a room and it's like, oh my God, Izabela Hamilton is here. And I'm like, I don't care about that. But then you really do deep inside because, we're all fucking vain, but we're all acting like we don't. But then you're like, when you have the moment, you're like, holy shit, the whole world is collapsing. And I don't even want to, I never even wanted to be famous. So, you start seeing yourself as, I'm going to go a little deeper here if you allow me. When we shed this, let's say this ego part, but which we never really should, because it's our best friend if you understand how it works. But we are all wearing different masks. Every single day we wake up and I put on the Izabela Hamilton mask, right? Whatever that is. Like today I'm on a podcast, tomorrow I do this, you as well. But if you think about it, it's kind of dark and you're like, oh, I don't like that. But what it does is if I can do that, then I can reinvent myself every single day and every single moment. And, maybe Izabela Hamilton was a little bitch yesterday because she didn't do that and she didn't do that. But today, you know what? I'm waking up and I am doing those 100 push-ups or whatever. But you get to choose in every single moment. And maybe tomorrow I wake up and I have a publishing house. And I do. As of yesterday, because I decided to. But do you see what I mean? There was I decided that now this is what I do, and I decided that now I am putting on this costume, and every single day you get to choose who you become. And costume, just think of it as just very, you can see it however you want, but you could become the person that you want. And if you've never been on a podcast and you want to start speaking, who cares what the yesterday you was doing? Today you're a new you. And we always talk to ourselves in such a way like, oh, I'm not good in front of people. Oh, I'm not doing this. Oh, I'm not good with this. Where is that even coming from? Why are you telling yourself something that you don't even want? You can tell yourself, I'm a great podcaster. I am a great this, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes, but it doesn't matter, because in the end, it's your opinion and your opinion only. Because in our head, every morning you wake up, you look in the mirror, it's just you. You go through life just being you. Everybody else is just like the extra movie characters, but you are the main role. You are the director, you are the actor. So I know when I go to sleep, I can decide if I had a good day or a fucking bad day. Literally every day I wake up, like this morning my alarm rang. It's always a pain, by the way. I am not a 4 a.m. wake person. But I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm awake. I'm like, oh, yeah, but thank you, God. I am grateful that you gave me another life. Yeah. And I say, today's going to be an amazing day. Something wonderful is happening today. And when you start your day like that, then your mind, your reticular activating system, is looking for things that would align with what you just said. So if I'm having a wonderful day today, something wonderful is happening. What does that mean? Are you going to win the lottery? Maybe if you play, but not even that. But then now you're going to start seeing little things like, wow, that lady smiled at me. Wow, that gentleman held a door for me. Whereas before, maybe you were in such a bad way, you're never even going to notice the little things. But when you put yourself into that, like, life is fucking amazing because I am the director and the main actor. What? I created all of this? Yes, you create all of it. Every single one of this. The fact that we're all sitting here, all of us have contributed to this. And this is what I want people to understand. Stop waiting for outside people, outside factors to determine the result of your life. Because you are the one in charge of your life.
Jeez.
You guys better play that shit back 5 times, motherfucker.
Play that back. I gotta say, I'm so fucking grateful that you woke up today and you decided to have a fucking wonderful day because you made the side characters in your movie have a fucking wonderful day today. You brought so much fucking passion. And I'm going to say that again, passion in what you're speaking. This shit is coming from your fucking heart. And it's, I wake up every day and say today's going to be a good day, and it is perception. I'm with you on that 100%. But sometimes there are other main characters out there that influence you as a side character.
Can we talk about that?
You just fucking made it that much better. Yes, absolutely.
So the side characters, it's funny, because now it's like a new thing, right? What are they called? The NPCs, right?
NPCs, yeah.
Right, and when you think about that, you actually get to influence those people in your life too. So how do I influence the people around me? Through my passion, right? Like you feel inspired and now you're going to inspire, but there's other people who act and move differently, and they're all placed there for your benefit. And when we start realizing that actually every single thing that's happening in our life is for your own greater good, you're going to start looking at things differently. So for example, you're having a fight with your best friend who you trusted for the past 20 years, and they literally just did something to you that you could never even imagine. You're like, I've been bamboozled for the past 20 years. But no, if you look at it, yeah, you can suffer. Of course, I'm not saying be like strong as metal and not feel anything. You're going to feel emotions and you're going to be upset. But if you really sit down and look at it, it's like, what is on the other side of this? What is it that am I learning from this? Maybe, that person was put on this earth to give you this lesson. And the way I made peace with this, because you can go through life hating everybody. That person stole from me, my employee quit, there's shit things happening all the time. But how you're going to act, how you're going to react to what's happening is going to make your life good or bad. So if I take this personally and say, oh my God, this person did this to me, and I say, oh, maybe I was a bad friend, and maybe, no, you take it as it is and say, what is the lesson that I need to learn here? Maybe I was a shitty friend. How can I become a better friend? But when you give your control and you say, this is outside of me, my boss hates me, that person did this, then you're giving your power to everyone else. And you don't want to. You want to take that in and say, this tragedy happened for my own benefit. And it's hard to look at sometimes at this because there's bad things that happen. You know, somebody can die, somebody can get sick. You know, that person just, you know, I don't know, they were married and now they're cheating on each other. You never know what things can happen. All you can do is remain true to yourself and really, every single experience that happens to you, just really know that is happening for you. And when you start applying this to your life, your life will change completely.
Absolutely. No, again, that goes back to saying, you know, that relationship served its purpose, right? That experience served its purpose. I'm a big believer in that. We're big believers in that. Sometimes things don't go the way that you intend for them to go, because even if you are the director and the producer and the main actor, there are things that occur that are unforeseen, right? And we got to be prepared to move with those things.
But how exciting.
It's
just a
very
plot twist.
exciting,
It's
right?
just a plot twist in the movie.
Plot twist happen. Yes, I love the way we put
But
this
you
together.
see, I love that you get excited because most people are scared of that. But when you realize that all these things, even the bad ones, happen to you so you can move forward, you're like, holy shit, give me another year of depression. No, I'm kidding. Do not do that. However, but you see how, you even said to me, the bigger, like the longer that period, it's even like the more pain you experience, the higher you go, the more you grow. So now when you have a little bump in the road,
That's
you're
true.
happy that nothing really bad happened. But when something like that deep happens and you come back like Phoenix from ashes, and you're like, holy shit, I feel my power. You almost want to ask for that all the time.
Absolutely.
You know?
No, I'm with you 100%. You know, I believe that if we were to just kind of narrow down on like love and emotion, I believe that people with like the most love to give, the people with the hugest fucking hearts that are so selfless, are the way they are because of all of the pain that they've suffered,
Just about to say.
right? So I believe that love, it's they're called teeter-totters, right? The things where you can sit on one end and one end goes high and the other end goes low, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that it's like the scale that just kind of shifts one way and the other. And the more love a person has, the more pain they felt, and it just expands outwards or inwards. So the people that don't express that love, or not express, I shouldn't say that, because there are so many people that have so much love that just aren't able to express it, right? Or haven't learned how to express it. But more love generally means more pain. More pain generally means more success, more growth, more drive, more gas in the tank to get you from where you're going to your destination. Because if you don't have that fuel, you're not going to be able to travel in that way. And everything does serve a purpose. But I really liked what you said, that this tragedy happened for my benefit. I really did like that, because it is easy to get caught up with the losses, the perceived losses, I should say, right? Because we perceive them as losses because they go against what we intended. However, those perceived losses can sometimes, oftentimes, and in the best of times, be life path changes. Right? It's those big things, that friend that you've been friends with for 20 years that, you know, you had a falling out with, or maybe if you were in a marriage and there was some, you know, cheating going on and you guys had to split. That's a very painful thing. It's a perceived loss, but who knows what's on the other side of that. And that can unlock that next life path change that we want. When we're watching a fucking movie, the best part is always the plot twist. That is what everybody that's creating the movie has put in the most effort. When they're building the stories, the directors and the producers, the writers, everybody else, they're building the entire story so that we can consume it. And it's all based on that plot twist. It's all based on that. That is the absolute best part of every fucking movie. And we, as the directors of our own movies, have that blessing of not being able to foresee those plot twists. So they are the most pleasant surprises if you allow yourself to perceive them that way.
I like.
That's amazing.
Sounds yummy.
And so one thing I want to like circle back to is this all drives not only you, but your success. Because what you've done now is you built companies like RankBell, right? And your new one. That doesn't come just out of nowhere. That comes from the energy, what you're saying right now. That comes from the passion. That comes from all of the past experience that you have experienced. You now take that fucking energy, and instead of being depressed about it or instead of doing this and that about it, you fucking make something out of yourself about it.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, I feel
it's
like...
inch by inch. It's not overnight. And you don't even want it to be overnight, because then you're bypassing. It's like, being able to take the stairs all the way up and see this majestic view when you get on top, or, flying into a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. Like, you'll take the pictures and you'll have the memory, but those stairs that you put in the sweat, and when you got up on top of this mountain and you saw the most beautiful sunset of your entire life, that's going to be imprinted in your DNA, maybe for generations to come. But the fact that you actually put in the pain and the sweat, and so much more worth it now, which is, look at all the people that win the lottery, and it's unfortunate that it's such a big majority of them, but they end up losing all the money because they never really experience the learning of how to create this abundance, and how to maintain it, and how to keep it, and how to invest it. And you see that a lot with new money too, and you guys specifically, I'm sure you've seen it a lot with crypto and all the trading that you do. But a lot of people want quick success, but it's through the failure and the repetition and the intuition, and that's why nobody can be you, and that's the beautiful thing. And I know a lot of your audience now, they're like, wow, I really want to be Danny. Like, Danny's cool. I want to be that guy, with the long hair and the hat, and he's so suave. But you know what? That's just Danny. But you have something that Danny doesn't have. You have something that I don't have, and is the ability to let yourself explore who that is. And it's okay if you're a little weird. Honestly, it's fine. It's okay if you're a little quirky, and it's okay if you like reading, sci-fi books or whatever. You don't have to be like me, but the fact that you're you, and your ability to stand straight into who you are and say, you know what, this is who I am, and that is what's going to attract your own tribe. We are our own tribe because we have kind of the same values, right? Yeah. But everybody can find their tribe. But if you're like, I just want to be Danny because Danny looks cool, but really I'm into anime, then you're always going to attract people that Danny's into, but really your whole time you're thinking about your anime people. Like, stand true to who you are, and the people that vibe with you will attract. Stop putting on a mask that you don't want to be associated with. Yeah.
And I think you could be successful by going through your route of staying true to yourself and just finding what makes money in that.
100%. You know what I mean? And the more you attend to your passion, what's beautiful about it, the universe or God or whatever you want to call it will align the right people for you. I don't know the story of how you two met, but I could see the passion and what attracted you towards each other from different corners of the world, maybe. And people will find you, situations will find you. Just be open to it.
You got to be fucking weird.
You got to be weird.
You got to be weird. I noticed you had an ENS domain on your bio on IG.
Yeah.
So I fucking love, be weird is a fucking thing.
Yeah, that's such a small thing that most people won't know, right?
I have beweird.eth. So fucking be weird. All fucking day. You have to, because there is this, we all are who we are, but there's so much in our subconscious that's drilled into us by standards set by generations before us, corporations that run the world, and train us to believe we want certain things and we should act a certain way, be a certain way, present ourselves a certain way, and do all this stuff. But I think the world does need a little bit of weirdness in it, because it's so fucking valuable if you can just let go of trying to fill a gap and then just find yourself and float into whatever gap you actually fill into. So
we're
that's
all
fucking
so
beautiful.
unique, we're all, there's never going to be another person ever like you. Even our set of Prince, there's never going to be another one like it. And that's a lot of fucking people for all this, millions of years that, this planet has been around. And, same thing with like a snowflake, they say, it's never going to be one like it. So this means that we're all here for a reason. Like you may be at home and thinking, well, I don't really have a purpose. I don't know what I like. It's all about just get up. And, I keep referencing Jordan Peterson because I just love his teaching so much. But he says, wake up, make your bed. And maybe for you, it starts just with that simple thing, just a little bit different than you were yesterday. And you build upon that. So last year, I had one of the hardest years, I feel like, in my life, mostly mentally, because, I got to a point where it was almost as if like my human experience was fighting with like my spiritual experience in a way, because I really wanted to explore, like, why am I here on this earth? Like, okay, I am this physical person and I have a body and I can feel it, but what is my spirit here to do? And when you start really doing deep work into yourself, by the way, is one of the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life, because then you really start contemplating and thinking of everything. Why do I do the things I do? Why do I say the things I say? Why do I dress the things? So you can see how it's a lot of work. So when you start getting really spiritual, you almost lose contact from the 3D world. So that kind of happened to me last year, and I really couldn't get out of it. And it was almost a depression, but I couldn't really finger pointed at it. I couldn't be like, this is what upsets me, because I started writing everything down. Is it my business? I mean, it's doing good. It could be doing better always, but it's not that. Is it my relationships? No, it's not that. Is it this? No, it's not that. What the fuck is it? And I couldn't figure it out. And in the end, I just realized it was just a period of my life that I really had to maybe disconnect from the world and go inside and see some of the things that maybe are not allowing me to move to the next step. Like in the business, I've been doing the same thing kind of for a long time. And even though I was living, I wasn't really thriving.
That's a very good point, because you have, and I want to make this a point, because you made millions of dollars. You have the coolest, fanciest cars. You go out there, live your life to the fullest. You travel, you do all that stuff. And people's mind, they think, oh my God, that's the end. That's the happy place. But you've already done that, and you still, after all of that, we're still trying to find or figure out that empty space that you wanted. Which
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Would you say that we have veered away from our divine human purpose?
Very interesting, and I love questions like this. Yes and no. And yes, because I believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience instead of the other way around. Yeah. And I believe for us to fully experience what a human experience is, I think we really need to forget our divine self. You know what I mean? How wretched can you be when you know you're one with God? You can't really be that wretched, right? You're like, but you know what I mean? Like,
hey, God forgive me.
Ratchet on Saturday, going to church on Sunday, baby.
Oh my God, I love this whole conversation. But you can see how I think as humans, we allowed ourselves to not be so spiritually connected so we can enjoy fully life, which is what God wants us to do. Yeah. Otherwise, why are you here for such a short period of time? Just live your life. Yeah. But have your own set of values. Like, one of my values is don't lie. Like, nothing has ever been good through lying. Mm-hmm. Don't cheat, people out of money. Don't scam. Don't do this. So there's a set of values, but everything else, it's on the menu. Whatever you want, explore your life, try different things, and then come to the set of the values and actions that you want to take. So when it comes to spirituality, yes, but no at the same time, because we know every time we go to bed and we're alone in bed and we're like, okay, it's just me and my thoughts now. There's no TV, there's no phone, I'm ready to sleep, I hope I fall asleep. And then you start this is when all those ideas come to you and questions and, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. And this is why it's important to give ourselves time throughout the day to do this meditative practice. This is what meditation really is about taking the time to speak to yourself. So, with spirituality, I mean, it definitely has its place. And for me to go through what I've been through last year after having all of this, because that was me too, Danny. I was like, I have all of this. Yeah. I should be like screaming in joy from the top of my lungs, but I am not. And why am I not? And I realized this is when my realization of, wearing a mask and what it does, and, how people see you and how you're connected to that feeling of how people see you. And as soon as you feel, because nobody says, oh, you're a celebrity, now you're a celebrity no more. You're amazing, now you're amazing no more. No, it's you. It's always been you who decides. It doesn't matter what people say about you. It's never been about that. It's how you think of what they say about you affects you. So when you have that conversation with yourself, like, who am I really? When it got to that point for me, it was almost like, God, why am I even here? I don't even really want to be here. Like, I've done it all. It's fun. Like, I didn't see really a purpose. And then once I came out of it, what I started doing, I went back to basics, to like, holy shit, I am here just to have fun. This is amazing. This is a playground. Because think about it. And let's speak hypothetically, because we don't fucking know what happens when we die. I just like to come up with stories. So sorry, guys. This has all been a story. No, but, if when we die, we live an infinite amount of time in this spirit that has no body, right? So you can't really taste food, you can't really like dance, or you can't really like hold somebody close, but you are a spirit and everything is great and it's amazing and you're just floating with angels. And how fucking boring does that sound? But like, what I mean? Like, okay, you're floating around and it's great, but how fucking cool is that? Like, we get to hold each other's hand. Yeah. Right? Like I feel this. Like, you feel this? Like, how cool is this? Like,
to feel that
how cool is this? And when you go and like you experience the tastiest dessert you've ever had, and you just like, I don't know, all the other things. You guys use your imagination, but we only get this for so short.
Yeah.
The sensory experience of being a human in the flesh.
I may or may have not done DMT, guys. But if I were to have done it and have experienced a little bit of that eternal whatever that is, it's amazing. But I mean, this is pretty fucking cool. Yeah. And I want to expand this as long as I can. And I want every single moment that I live to be filled with all of it. And, if I'm crying, and I just want to cry so hard as I can. And if I party, I want to party as hard as I can. And, if whatever you want, do it to the best of your abilities. And in the end, just live your life. Like, literally, I came to the conclusion that we're here just to enjoy this body. Literally, that's it. Yeah. God is like, okay, you've done all of this flying around. Go spend 100 years on earth. It's super fun, I promise. Learn some lessons. And then, maybe we get to do this all over again.
What if this is the fucking vacation, dude? Yeah. This is the spirit world's vacation. And we're over here worried about all these other things, dude.
This is a vacation.
We need to unveil our spirit and just allow ourselves
to
experience
are making this so
everything.
Much harder than it is. Guys, like, okay, think of it this way. There's this powerful God, right? And he created mountains and oceans. And I just came from a cruise. And the ocean is bigger than I thought, guys. Yeah. I swear to God. Like, shit. It keeps on going, okay? You know what I mean?
It's a lot of fucking water.
It's a lot of fucking water. I'm like, oh my God. Like, okay. So what I'm saying is, this God that created all of this decided that after all these generations and people you came on this earth, right? Like, a lot of people had to procreate for you specifically, your essence and who you are to be here. And he's like, yeah, just go figure it out. No, everything is taken care of. It's just, do you trust? Do you trust that you are all taken care of? And do you trust in the ability to set a thought in your mind and say, I am broken, Romania. I don't want to be here anymore. I wake up, I'm in America. How the fuck did I get here? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about how you're going to get there. Have that thought and say, I believe that is going to come true. And then just let it unfold. And for some, it takes a second. For some, it takes years. For me, it took a lot of years. But I never lost the hope. I said, I see myself in America. I had no idea. I never read books at that point. I mean, God, whatever Ceausescu let us watch on TV, that's what we watched. And it was all like, yes, we're doing this. But when you have that thought, you have the autonomy over yourself. Like, just trust that you are taken care of. Trust that somebody, that power didn't just drop you on this amazing, magnificent earth for you to take care of. Like, you are here because you are loved. You are here because you are important. You are here because you are unique. And each and every one of you contributes to this world.
Damn, dude. I'm
love
getting the
that.
goosebumps all over, head to toe right now. This is fucking magnificent. This is magnificent. This is the fucking vacation. We are loved. I felt that. I felt that in my
But
heart.
doesn't it make fucking sense?
It
This
makes
is
perfect
it.
sense.
It makes perfect sense.
It makes absolute perfect sense.
That makes perfect sense, and I want to circle or want to highlight something very important that, yes, you've done the Amazon and you made your success on that, but what you're doing right now with the publishing, what's the business again?
Juicy. My new business is called Ink of Genius
Ink of
Publishing.
Genius Publishing. And I think this is going to be right up your alley because
Yes.
you're going to be talking to like-minded individuals
Yes.
like yourself, but not only talking to them, you're going to be publishing their books.
Yes.
And so you want to talk about that and
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So after all these years of, just trial and error and having, this amazing Amazon business that I love and has taught me so much, I finally feel like I found my purpose. And I think this is where last year came through, where I was like, I don't want to do Amazon anymore, and I'm tired, and oh God, I have to start from zero. What am I gonna do? And I'm gonna live on the streets, and everybody's gonna hate me, and I'm gonna die alone. Okay? This is like, some of our thoughts are fucking nuts.
You are loved.
Who
You are loved.
Right, but how dark can we go sometimes,
Yeah.
right? So, when I realized that, I was like, okay, going back to basics, what do I love? I love knowledge. I love information. I love people. I love like-minded people. I love books. I'm surrounded by books. And then I was like, it came to me almost by, it's no accident because it's been years in the making, but having the ability to put all of it together. One, my Amazon experience, which I have for almost 10 years now, where I can get any single product on page one and getting the visibility needs. And I do that with books as well. But beside just the technical part of it, yeah, I can get you bestseller in every category. Yeah, that's one thing. It's great. But the ability to share that voice, to share that uniqueness that we talked about, I can't wait to help you write your book and your book and Brandon's on, how he became so amazing at videography and making me look so amazing right now. That's, I want to know about that. And if you are able to share all your years on this earth, you put it into a book, how honored and blessed am I to be able to read all of your experience and you summarize it in a book. Like, you understand the power of books that we pay $10, $20 or $1 at Salvation Army. How powerful are these books? Are you able to read Marcus Aurelius' meditations from hundreds of years ago, still applies today, all that information, all that knowledge? Like, how blessed are we to have that ability? So keeping that in mind and having this affection and attraction and passion for knowledge and for people, because if it's not obvious enough, I love people. I think we're the best thing to ever been invented since sliced bread.
Inspired my...
sliced bread and maybe,
You just inspired my title for my first book.
Let's go. Let's go, baby. But you can see, and selfishly, why I want to do this is because I want to be immortal. And what do I mean by this? I get to live thousands of lives. Me reading your book, I get to live your life. Me reading your book, I get to live your life. Same with Brandon, same with you, and everyone out there who has the inspiration and actually the cojones to actually pick up the pen and start writing that book,
That's a
right?
hard thing to do.
And I'm here to make that process super easy.
Yes.
But that's a story for another time. The main thing is, we all come to this earth, and, when we have that realization of what is my purpose and what is my legacy beside just my purpose, and are people going to ever know that I came to this earth? Was I ever anything beside a piece of dust? And what I want to be able to do for humans before I leave this earth is to help as many as people want, help them put their story out there. So this way your kids, your grandkids, your grandkids, they can pick up a book and be like, holy shit, that was my grandpa. He was dope.
That's fucking beautiful.
And and hopefully a lot of us are going to leave legacies that, expand beyond just the book. Hopefully we'll have bridges named after us, and benches, and monasteries and libraries. But having that one book that, my kid can be like, my mom was amazing. I want to do that for people.
That's fucking beautiful. So, Ink of Genius, which the name I am in absolute fucking love with. Yeah. I think it takes an Ink of Genius to fucking come up with a fucking name like that, because that is fucking dope as fuck. But you're looking to have a greater impact on the world by essentially immortalizing people's stories, so that you're giving them a platform where they can come immortalize their story and be able to share their legacy with everything that they leave behind on this earth. And that's a very, very beautiful, powerful thing.
Dope, man.
That's super fucking dope.
Yeah.
I love that you also said to pick up a book, and you can live hundreds of lives by reading what other people have had to share. And that's really fucking cool too, because I think for a lot of people, maybe not, but at least the people that I'm usually around, it's most of the reading that we're doing is reading about practices we can do to move further in life, but we're not doing enough reading actually just soaking up the experiences of others that are not there to help us improve our business or our mindset or those kind of things, but an actual experience, that somebody shared hundreds of years ago that is still relevant today will actually take you into their mind and show you their experience that you can then absorb, which can have a huge fucking impact on internal change, right? Because we always go to external change, like Brandon fucking said, dude. So this is about internal change, and you can have that kind of impact by reading those stories. And I think that you just kind of really unlocked that in my head. And I know that so many other listeners are gonna now think about this a little bit differently, because it's not about all the self-help books all the time. It can be so much fucking deeper than that. And I love what you're doing.
And you could just start by journaling every day. Yeah. It just takes 5 minutes to just sit down with your thoughts, meditate either before or after, and just sit down, have a journal, and just let go of all of the shit that's in your head onto a piece of paper. There doesn't have to be a subject. There doesn't have to be like a point for you to make. All you have to do is just write. And it could be just for 5 minutes, and then you'll start to realize, okay, I'm getting better and better. And then it's 10 minutes, and then it's 15 minutes, and now you're setting apart 2 hours to write, right? And now all of a sudden we're hitting up Ink of Genius to fucking create our book, which it just literally started from 5 minutes of writing and journaling.
Exactly, that's all it takes. And remove friction, and as I'm like trying to biohack myself too every single day, is like, how do we create new habits, and how we get over procrastination. And for me, it's like, okay, I've always wanted to journal, but do I always have a notebook with me around? No, but what do I have with me every single time is my phone. And then, you can start with that. You can start on notes. So always remove all the friction that you can think of. Oh, I don't wake up at 4, so therefore I'm not going to work out. Well, when can you work out? Maybe it's at 5 p.m. for 5 minutes. And, just to finish off my last year, one thing that actually pulled me out of that was, putting my shoes on and going to the gym every day. And I mean, I've always worked out my whole life, but trust me, when you're in a deep existential crisis, last thing you want to do is go work out. Yeah. That is the last thing you want to do. But the simple action of me actually getting ready for the gym, going there, driving there, even if it was for 5 minutes, walking in, walking out. Because then what happened, my body's like, you're already here, just do a little more, do a little more. The next thing you know, you're like, oh, damn, I look good. Okay, I put in a little more. And then next thing you know, you're in a different environment. You're no longer in that room that reminds you of everything that's wrong. And then you start changing the scenery, which creates new really connections in your brain. And then you start noticing things, and then you have an idea. Next thing you know, you're like, holy shit, I'm good now. But we need this interaction, and we need to, we need to have introspection, but also we need to have the time where we relax and where we do the ratchet shit.
1,000%.
You're fucking fantastic, dude.
1,000%.
What a fucking blessing, dude. It's been a great,
I'm also a
amazing,
comedian. I'm also a comedian. I gave myself that name, honestly, guys, because not many people laugh at my jokes, but it's a numbers game. I look at it as guys look at women. It's a numbers game, like, no, I get a yes. So I do that with jokes. Some really nails and some don't, but, you just can't get better unless you keep doing it.
That's your entrepreneur mind. It's a numbers game, dude. We'll get it eventually.
That's absolutely right.
Listen, we are almost an hour of this fucking amazing
Are we?
podcast.
I thought we just started.
I know.
Well, I was going to ask, when are we getting started? That's it?
This is going to have to be a fucking part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. No,
honestly, anytime you guys want me to come, and if your audience enjoy this is where I feel at home.
There's
like
no
conversations like this.
They will.
But
we always end on 2 questions.
I'm gonna have to take one of them today.
Okay, you want to start?
You can start.
Okay, the first question I would say is, it's always like the going back to like the basics. Like, what would actually, very good question. What would you tell if you were a mentor to someone going through the state you were in last year, right? The mental, physical depression, all that stuff. What would you tell them to lift their spirits or to kind of keep them going?
I would say there's always going to be sun after the rain, and there's always going to be rain after the sun. So really be grateful for everything that happens when it happens, and it's going to rain, and it's going to be gross, and it's going to be bad, and just know that also shall pass, and you're going to come out better and better every single time, and say thank you for making me go through this, because otherwise I would just be kind of floating like this through life. I want this, and I want this, and the deeper I go, the higher I rise. If I go like this, it won't really do much to me. I need to come back again here, again and again and again. I don't know if I want to keep coming back to Earth.
We need
see.
Volatility.
Yeah. So just keep going through it. Don't stop. Like,
Volatility.
Let's go.
That's fucking dope as fuck. You always have. There's people like us that want to always have a positive impact on people, right? And we try to lift people's spirits up all the time. I think you said some very beautiful things. But you took it a step further than I thought you were going to. You said that there's always going to be sun after the rain, implying that there's always going to be better days. You hear that all the time. There's always going to be better days. But you took it a step further and you said, but there will also be rain after the sun. And I think if we were to just take those 2 statements right there and just focus into that, it really is that there is never going to be a destination where it's going to be fucking good forever. No matter what you accomplish, it's going to be sunny and rainy over and over. And it's a cycle. And it is the cycles, the highs and the lows of the cycle, that define the value and everything that we're experiencing. Yeah. So that was fucking beautiful as fuck.
Yeah, and without one or the other, you can't experience one or the other.
You cannot.
Because I do like rain, but if it was always raining, I would fucking hate it. But I do like sun. Yeah. But if I was in Palm Springs 24/7, I'd fucking hate it, So like you experience like both sides, the light and the dark. Yeah. Without experience the dark, you won't be grateful for the light. Without experience the light, you won't be grateful for the dark too.
And I heard one thing, and I'm going to say before we move to your question, somebody asked this person, like, do you like where you live? Is it cold? Is it hot? Like, how do you dress? Like, I dress for the weather. Like, I don't move to a place because it's cold or because it's warm. So same with life. Like, dress for the weather. Like, bad things will come. Dress for that. Good things will come. Dress for that.
Fuck yes, dude. All day.
Brandon's in the back.
How much power have we had in this podcast today?
Oh my gosh.
We're grateful as fuck.
You guys better be taking notes.
I want to take this back to something you said earlier in the podcast. And you actually said, maybe not, maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't have said it, right? But you said at one point you wished that you were a man, right? And I think that I'm just going to make an assumption before I pass it back over to you. I'm thinking that this stemmed from a place where you might have been going through some hardship, and you can look around you, and obviously men have had it a lot easier than women for many, many, many years. And now this conversation is becoming more of a norm. And these are conversations that I really love to kind of get into when I am around a woman that I can see is clearly driven, clearly has an open mind, is spiritual, has, made it in business and is looking to explore in life. I mean, I think that you can influence and impact so many women in so many ways. And that's what we always want to bring the spotlight to when we have that ability. What changed? At what point did you realize that you don't need to be that, and that you are in control, and that you can have everything that you desire? And what would you tell those women that are now in the same place that you were when you looked back and said, I wish I was a man?
That's a beautiful question. And, I must say this was definitely in the beginning of my business, and especially in the Amazon industry when I started 9 years ago, it was very much male dominated. And, I didn't feel like I got the respect, and I felt like, maybe my prices were being haggled with more than, a men-owned business. But also now that I have all these realizations, I realize that it doesn't matter what people say to you, and it doesn't matter what people do to you. It's, again, how you react to it and how I take that. But for women that are going through maybe specifically the same thing, I would say, just know your worth, and know that, you will face many challenges. And maybe one of them is, being in a male-dominated industry, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean shit. You can still become whoever you want to become. You just got to be very careful of what you tell yourself about that. So what I told myself was that, oh my God, if I were a man, I would have been treated better. I would have made more money. Is maybe something that I took, that I heard in my life, or maybe it was something that I actually experienced, but I experienced it because I believed it. You see what I mean? So that changed for me when I realized that my value has nothing to do with having a female autonomy or a masculine one. Had nothing to do with that. Had everything to do with how I thought about it. So, for women, I say, you can do whatever you want. You can change your sex if you want to. You don't have to. You can become whoever you want as long as you know who you are. So I would say to all the women, just have an idea and go for it. And a lot of them are going to fail, and that's fine. And you start again. And you can reinvent yourself every single time. And, you can be the president of the United States if you want.
So you chose to stop accepting disadvantage.
Correct. It's always about you. It's never about anybody else. It's always about you, and it's always been about you. And I could walk into a room where I think people judge me, or I can walk into a room where I think people love me. But it's all about what I think, because I have no idea what's in everybody's head. We really don't. Is what we think, oh, that person looked at me that way. Who knows? Maybe they're thinking of their breakfast. But you see, we all have our own different perception. Oh my gosh, she looked at me weird. It's on. When really, poor girl is like.
Oh, that's so good. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to get that breakfast out of my head. Anytime somebody is catches eyes with me is now going to be, well, what if it's breakfast?
They just had a really shitty breakfast.
Yeah, she looks at you, but in reality, she's like, oh, this is breakfast.
But that's, and that's another thing. And I think that's where I bring in a lot of joy and fun. I just love joking about everything. And, that's what I think, makes people feel more comfortable around me, because I'm just a big goofball. I just love laughing and being cute, obviously, and dressing nice and driving nice cars and making money. But other than that, just have fun. We're all going to die.
We're all going to die soon. Just have fun.
I fucking love this.
Just have fun.
This is fantastic.
I do too. Now, If people want to get in contact with you, because I'm sure people are with publishing or with Amazon or anything, how can they find you? What's the best way?
What's the best way to find me? Fuck. I was off of Instagram for 6 months. I'm back on it now.
Instagram? What's your Instagram?
Bella.Iza.Bella. You can put it there.
So Bella.
If people just want to see my random personal stuff. But if you want to be in touch with me as far as business, I would say right now, RankBell.com, RankBell.com.
Okay.
But yeah, you can just Google me, bro. You can
fucking
find
Google
me.
her,
Like,
bro.
I'm there, just shoot me an email. Facebook, I respond to everyone.
Okay.
Unless you're being weird and you send me like weird pictures.
Yeah, don't be fucking weird, guys.
Yeah. Unless you
or-
look really good and you have abs, then you
Or
can
be
send
weird.
my picture.
Or be weird.
But not in her DMs.
Yeah.
Keep it out the DMs.
No, it's fine. No, I'm really. If you guys ever have any like advice, existential crisis advice, and
Beautiful.
yeah, shoot me a message.
And then when are you fully going live with Ink of Genius?
So it went live yesterday,
Perfect.
but it's not perfect because I'm a little bit of perfectionist. So
Yeah.
once I have like the branding done,
Yeah.
then I'll put out some press releases. But
Fuck yeah.
I thought it would be cool to talk about it since it just happened
that's
yesterday. But
amazing.
it's just something that another creation of mine, and I look forward to having a lot of juicy conversations with
Yeah.
different authors on my podcast, and I look forward to having all of you on mine too.
Oh, we can't wait.
Yeah.
That's gonna be beautiful. We're so fucking excited. It's really been such a powerful experience having you today with us on the podcast. We're very grateful for all of it. You've shared some tremendous insight, wisdom, compassion, passion with so many people today, and these words are going to be immortalized, just like your goal is to immortalize people's legacies. Your words are going to forever be immortalized in this podcast, and they are going to have an impact on the right people, and we are all very grateful for that. Congratulations on starting the next chapter of your life with Ink of Genius. I know this is going to be a beautiful chapter of your life, and there's going to be sun after the rain and rain after the sun, and we experience all of that. So it's been a sunny fucking day in this fucking podcast rooms right now. and we're
Wow,
grateful
this
for
was
it.
so beautiful, guys. I mean, you almost made me cry when I came on, and you almost made me cry at the end. And I just want to express my gratitude for all of you who watched all the way till the end and heard our crazy talk. And just want to tell you how loved you are. And, we are all part of the same race, the human race. And every single time you pass by somebody, I will leave you with this, silently just say I love you to that person. Just try that. Like,
Try it.
just try that.
Yeah.
Like,
I just did.
look at somebody, I love you. And then as you go through life with that thought of love, because let's replace that programming, the one that says I'm dumb, I'm fat, I'm this. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. And then when I see Brandon, it would be way easier for me to say I love you because he's me, right? And I love you. And I
Yeah.
love you. But it all starts with I love myself. And then you share that to the world, and then it's like, fuck, there's no limits to anything that you can achieve. So
Brandon, I fucking
am
love you.
blessed, and
I love you too, Brandon. Isabella, I love you.
I love you.
DP, I fucking love you.
Oh, yes.
Everyone that's listening, we love
It's a
you.
love
Penelope.
fest. It's a love fest.
Penelope, I love you too, girl.
Penelope, we love you.
This has been amazing. I appreciate you as always. I knew this was going to be one of the best podcasts that we've had on here. You are absolutely amazing. We're for sure going to have you again, and we can't wait to come to San Diego to have yours. Guys, if you want more people like this, let us know. This is our community. This is who we do, Dreams Through Knowledge. Come DM us to see if you want to be a part of our community. Thank you for liking and subscribing to all of our channels and liking the Reels and the TikToks and the Twitters and the IGs. We can't appreciate we appreciate the love, and we see you guys out there. And once again, man, this is the Dreams Through Knowledge podcast. We fucking love you guys. Have a great day. Peace.
Peace.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be